Venom? Well, I mean, there isn't no like superhero 4-time strategy game, so I don't think I could do that.
Why?
I don't know. Poses a problem, man.
Yes, it does.
Like that needs to be a thing. That would be pretty cool. I don't know how they would do a 4-time strategy game for like Marvel or DC though. Because are there really ever like large epic scale battles to the point where there's minions on each side like normally, or is that just like typically from war events?
Depends. Yeah, there's been giant enough comic book stuff to where they've had gigantic like enemies on each side type of things. Okay.
I was like, yeah, typically it's on the enemy side, not the hero side. The hero side just has one motherfucker killing like another, like 50 or incapacitating 50.
All right, we're live. I believe we were live like 20 seconds ago, but I was sending out the links and everything.
Okay,
so,
sweet.
This is episode. Now, we're getting up here, okay? So, calm down.
Oh, no.
But this is episode 10. Shit.
Fuck, man.
Feels like we've been doing this forever.
You know, if we were to transfer over all the gaming stuff from Legacy, I am curious what our actual episode count really is, because it's not 10. Like,
No.
in gaming wise, we might be, just like the Sentai Review, we might be in the hundreds. But
still, man, 10's a lot. It's good.
Here's this show. This show is talking about our ever-present hobby that never seems to let up. There's always some new game. There's always a new game, and whether you discover it tomorrow or 15 years later, that's what we're doing here. Normally, each one of our conversations starts with what have we been playing, and if it leads to something, it leads to something. And if we have to dig into the topic book, that's what we do. Also, anybody that comes in here, you are open to the chat. So in live, if you want to ask something or get in on what we're talking about and we notice it, we'll answer it and yada, yada, yada. Damn it. Okay, now I think I'm, like, not weird. Well, that's...
Are you sure about that?
No, I can't be sure about that. All right. So...
Holy crap.
Yes, crap. And since you're holy crapping over there, what have you been playing, Shane? Because I know right now you're reading Batman instead of, Oh... He's trying to keep up with the X-Men.
Well, that ended pretty well. I've been playing World of Warcraft. Like I was last time.
Is that it?
As of right now, yeah. In a few days,
Dude, it's taking over your life, man. You need to stop.
Not actually.
You have to have an intervention.
I'm not playing it as much as you think.
That's what they all say.
So I haven't played it in 2 days, to be fair.
Oh, I'm proud of you, man.
But it is the only game you've played in 4 weeks.
Oh, that and Far Cry, and then I plan on picking up God of War Friday.
Yeah, see, because that's the problem with MMOs, because I love them. I thoroughly enjoy playing MMOs, but I don't have the time because I have something called a life now, unfortunately. So, because I mean, once you get to that in-game status, like you have to religiously play that one game. And if you jump on the other games, then you're not going to be where you need to be to play your MMO effectively. That's where my issue always is.
We have very different same issues. For me, the best part of the game is getting to that end part of the game, and then the end part of the game always sucks. It does. Yeah. It always fucking sucks. I get it. Some people are really into MMOs and they think that it's grand and expansive and never ending, but it fucking is. Look, you go through the main game, you do some quests and crap like that. You see the storyline, and that's another problem I have. We'll get into that. But as you go through, you see your storyline. Then you get to a point where you have to do instances. Then you got to do some dungeons. Then you got to go off and do your side quests and get this and get that. And there comes a point, say, I don't know, maybe 15 hours into the game, where you've already done everything there is to do. Now you're just going to do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And it's always going to be the same, and you're going to trick yourself into believing that it's not. And one of my biggest problems with it is, like, throughout the course of the game, it had you go to dungeons and whatnot, where you had to queue up and go with people and go do this dungeon. Well, now that the game is over, you need to go to the instances and queue up so you can go do the dungeon. And there are bigger dungeons and more extreme bosses, but they could have just worked those bosses into the storyline, too. They didn't have to be post-game events. The game chose it that way, but by the time I get there, I don't care. In most of these games, you max out your level before you're even done with the game. You're not even in the post-game, and then you're just trying to, like, get gear. And it's all about grinding for gear. And it's just, it drives me crazy. MMOs, to me, are one of the worst gaming platforms ever made. The games always lack substance. If I could play Tales, or I could play almost any MMO ever, I would pick Tales. And if I could play Tales with a friend, that would be even better. Like, if you could play Tales of Berseria and actually give one of the other characters to somebody else, like I could say, Shane, use this guy for me. And then it actually let us go through the game and experience it and play in, like, a party or whatever. Like, that would be something else completely for me. I would be into that. But, like, in fact, you know what? Go ahead. Go ahead with MMOs for a second. Storyline-wise, because that's one of the biggest things of it. One of my biggest problem with the storyline of any MMO that I've ever played in my life is that it's not important. Ever.
But Bill, World of Warcraft has the best lore, like, ever, man. There's so much story.
No, it could. It literally could.
Lot.
No,
there is really a lot of story.
But none of it's important. None of it.
You can skip the story.
That's my problem. You just that's a fucking problem for me. Like, that's the reason I have trouble getting into MMOs, because, like, a couple days ago we all downloaded Terra and we were going to get into Terra. Well, I started noticing that everybody was leaving me behind, but we were playing at the same time. And then
I know what motherfuckers are doing too.
It hit me exactly what was happening. Everybody was going to the event, seeing the lady that was standing there, clicking on her, clicking OK, getting the next mission, and going directly to where the question mark or X was on the map.
You're watching the cutscenes and stuff, listening to the story, trying to understand why you're there. What is your mission, you know?
Exactly. I was trying to understand why the universe is where it is and why it is what it is. I wanted to immerse myself in this universe and kind of experience an MMO. But everybody else was experiencing the MMO the way that they do. And I've been seeing this for years in MMOs. And it was the same thing that chased me out of Final Fantasy XIV. My group did not give a shit about what was happening in 14. They just wanted to play 14. So
yeah,
I was going through the storyline, and they had already gone through the storyline. We're all in the post game, and I got to where I was at level 35, and I was just going through the story. And I wanted to talk about the story. So I was saying things to him like, oh, so-and-so this happened, or whatever. And then I got this response. When does that happen? Well, I'm pretty far back. It happened around this time, blah, 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 this army, yada, yada. And then I kept getting the same responses. Oh, I never read that. See, when I started the game, I was pretty far behind, so I just kind of went to the waypoints and got to where I'm going. And that killed it for me because I wasn't in the universe. I didn't care. And I don't think there's an MMO out there where the story necessarily matters. Like, you can always just go to the waypoint, and then it'll say something like, collect so-and-so, or kill so many people, or whatever, and that just kills it for me. It's the storyline in an MMO is garbage, and it almost always is garbage, even if it's really good, because it doesn't matter. You don't need it. They may as well just release an MMO where there's no story at all, and you just do stuff. It's just like, hey, there's things out there.
Yeah, and that was the problem as to why I never got into WoW too, because I like in-game stuff, but again, like I said, I don't have the time to invest into it. So I did want to, enjoy the story. So one of my friends, she has max level like of 5 different characters, and she's like, hey, do you want to play WoW? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So she even bought it for me. I'm like, okay, sweet. I don't have to pay money. I'm down to play. Free's always fun. So then once we start getting into the game, I will start reading stuff, and then she's like, just skip that. It doesn't matter. Exactly what you were just saying. And I'm like, well, I want to read it though. I'm sure you read it at one point. You're always fucking talking about the lore. Let me read it. And she's like, fine.
Well, we just
every single time I would stop and read it, she would get pissy with me because she just wanted to level grind me up as fast as she can to max level, and I wanted to enjoy. Yeah, I wanted to enjoy the story as well because I do enjoy that.
All anybody ever wants to do is the fucking post game, and we even had a comment just now saying Star Wars Old Republic MMO story was bad with a question mark, and I would argue that yes, it is, because even in that damn Star Wars game, you go up and you talk to a guy, you click through it as fast as you can, click, and it'll give you like 2 missions or a mission option or whatever. You click accept, and it puts a marker on the map, and you just go there. You never need to know what they said or what's happening or why you're doing it. You just need to know enemies are over there or item is over there, and just there's a little X on the map, or over on the right-hand display of your screen, it'll say, kill 10 of these, collect 4 of these, talk to this guy, and you don't have to read anything ever in any MMO I've ever played. You could just go waypoint to waypoint, so the story is useless.
Yeah, because every quest that you pick up, it tells you what you have to do in the corner. I got to go kill these many enemies. I got to go collect this many items. But the fact that I'm trying to, because I'm starting WoW from the beginning.
Right.
And I'm trying to level up to the max level and trying to get into the lore. Even though going into WoW, I've already missed out on lore because I didn't play the strategy Warcraft games, which are tied into World of Warcraft. Since I didn't play those games, there are things I have no idea. So I'm just trying to understand what World of Warcraft is. And since I only played it, I played it back when it was like, I played it many years ago. I'm trying to, and there's so much more now. It's so big now. And you've got to think about it. This game's like 14 years old. That's 14 years of stuff that they have continuously put into the game. More story, more lore, stuff like that. It's going to take a long time. But the beauty about an MMO is that it never ends and you can do it at your own pace.
But you can't. You can't. That's another problem. Just like what Kevin was talking about.
Yeah, once you get to end game, you can't, because you have raiding, and once you get into raiding, if you're in a guild, you have a strict schedule. Like, I know motherfuckers that they will not go play another game with me because they have to raid on Wednesdays and Saturday nights, and if they're not there, they would be kicked out of that raid. And not only that, but they have to do other stuff throughout the week in order to be ready for those raids.
I'm in a guild right now. I'm in a guild right now, and I'm in their Discord.
Yep.
No.
Yes, but
they're but they're also leveling up characters as well.
Right.
So there's a lot of people in this guild that don't have a max level character. Some
Yes,
do, some
but
don't.
once you get to the post game, and you can't go at your own pace. That's a lie, because if you go at your own pace and your pace is slower than the other people's, they will leave you behind. And once they leave you behind, there's going to be missions that you can't do without them. And I cannot even begin to tell you how often I have gotten into groups where they're already so far ahead that they will not come back if you're too far behind. Or you got to wait and hope that the right person is on at the right time that will come back. And you don't always get a lot of people like that. A guild very much is designed to be able to conquer the next big event in the game. And if the game is like 14 years old and has already experienced like 9 expansions, they're on that 9th expansion. You're not.
Yeah. No. If you want to get technical, I'm on the original game. I'm not even on the first expansion. Shit. You know.
So, but if you want to though, Shane, you can always be that guy, because every guild has 1 or 2 of those guys that all they do is they just keep making new characters and run with new people to help get them to max level. So if you want to be like that and never actually experience end game, then yeah, you can play at your own pace. But you won't be able to do raids and the other stuff that the end game stuff is.
Yeah, once you get to the end game in an MMO, it is absolutely imperative that you have an actual group that you are communicating with. Because if you just try to rush into some of these end game things, or like queue up for an instance in like a really big event, you're gonna die, and you're gonna die fast because you can't talk with those people because they're all in guilds and shit.
And you have to start learning, like, how you have to learn positioning. You have to learn when to pull, when not to pull. You have to know what role you are and know it well, because once you get into a raid, motherfuckers aren't going to sit there and hold your hand. Like, it's intense.
I'm at end games in Final Fantasy. So
yeah,
I've raided within Final Fantasy.
Yeah, because I raid when I was playing DCU.
Man, the sun is coming in that window like crazy.
Yeah, I'm about to say you're all
illuminated and shit. Yeah, there. That's way better. Holy shit, man! I couldn't see shit.
It was like you were a holy man.
I am, but
Holy Bill.
That's different.
Let's not.
Bill the Magnificent.
Holy Bill.
Let's not inflate his ego anymore.
Yes, careful.
But
come back down, Bill. Where's the camera? I'll poke you. There you go.
Oh, fascinating. But yeah, that's what I've been playing, and like I said, what I want to play is God of War when it comes out Friday.
Right.
God of War. Because that looks awesome.
It looks like this Nick person has been playing Jolly Co-operations.
I have no idea what that is.
Me neither. I am looking it up.
Okay. I started something new. I'm still doing what I was doing. I got all but 1 trophy in Senran Kagura. And that 1 trophy is a nightmare, and it sucks an ass, and it's not fun. It's all gambling. It's a random generated gambling thing where you earn money through doing missions. You put that money into a gambling thing, and you get an outfit, which the outfits are so ridiculous I'm never going to use them, but if I wanted to platinum the game, I would have to get 120 lucky draws.
And basically, you're just trying to get this last trophy so you can say that I completed this fucking game.
Originally I was, and then I realized how stupid that was going to be, and I said, hey, I got 97%. I'm moving the fuck on. So I'm done with that. I have moved on, and I decided to, because I put every paycheck, I take $10 or $20 and I buy a card and I put it on the account, and then when it gets to something I'll spend it on the flash sales or something.
Right.
Well, I had about 46 on there and they had the flash sale, and I only bought 2 games this run because a lot did not interest me.
Right.
So what I ended up getting was I got this game has a really weird name. It's like Mitsurugi Kamyu. I streamed it just like it was like 2 or 3 days ago. I just got done streaming it. I'll see if I can find it because the name certainly messes me up. Oh, by the way, also this doesn't really go into gaming, but I do not like the update that they did on the Facebook app. I fucking despise this update. It's very irritating. It changed where all my stuff was, so now finding the stuff that I was doing is really a pain in the ass. There it is. Mitsurugi Kumie Hikai. Or Hikia. I'm not sure how to say that. Hikae. If it was an I know that's Hikai. I don't know if that's Haki or something like that. But regardless, it's an incredibly simple game. But it plays a lot like Ninja Gaiden. It's very much the enemies are hardcore. And you have to know what you're doing or you will die. And the game does not hold your hand. It expects that you're going to die some and learn how to play. Well, the one thing I was both disappointed with and then grew into about this is that, you know, in God of War, it makes you walk around and fight the enemies and reach the boss.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, they kind of cut out the bullshit. It starts you in like a circle area, like an arena, I guess you would say. And then enemies come in and it says phase 1 and you fight enemies. Then it says phase 2 and you fight enemies. Then phase 3 and you fight enemies. And then you do that all the way up to phase 5 and phase 6, a boss comes out, you kill him, and then you see a storyline about where you're going next or what's happening in the actual story. At first, I hated this. Like the first level of it, I was like, man, I don't like this. I want to walk around and see things and do stuff. And then I got to about the third level, and I said, you know, in a way, I appreciate what was done here. Because what's nice about it is, have you ever played like the God of War, and you get to the part where it's just fucking stupid and tedious. You gotta solve a dumbass puzzle, or you gotta escort some guy from this location to that location, or you gotta walk down some path and fight a bunch of enemies that literally the game could have just put you in a room and had you fight the enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Batman Arkham Asylum, while that game is really, really cool, and the storyline is fantastic, most of the enemies served no other purpose other than standing in a hallway, and you would walk up, and there'd be like 7 or 8 of them, and you'd beat them up. And then there was a post-game where literally you would just turn the game on, and it would be like, there's a bunch of enemies in the room, beat them up. Well, this game just does that right off the bat. There's just guys in a room, you beat them up, then you see the storyline, and you move on to the next part. So I was a little iffy with it, but I've actually grown to appreciate it. And it's a hard-ass game. Like, I've died a couple of times, and I just recently got to the last guy. And do you remember years ago when you played Heavenly Sword?
Yes.
And you got to the last guy, and you realized pretty fucking quick you weren't beating that game?
Yes.
Well, that's what this guy is like.
Oh, I
beat Heavenly Sword, and it was a motherfucker, and I beat that guy. And now I'm doing the same thing with this game. There's these attacks that I don't know how to dodge them. Like, I'm just getting brutalized every step of the way. I cannot beat her.
Right.
I can beat her first form, and that's hard enough. Then she becomes some weird giant energy goddess thing, and it just wrecks me. I cannot beat her. And that would be about it. That's the only game I've added since the last time we talked. I haven't been going crazy on the gaming front in terms of adding stuff. I'm just trying to get through what I've got.
Yeah. Oh, so real quick, Nick asked if there was ever plans for a Power Ranger MMO, and I was looking it up, and there actually was a Power Rangers MMO online. It was a Korean MMO, but Game Tree, which was the original host, apparently shut it down. But they're talking. It looks like there's an effort to bring it back, is what it said in 2016 for an American release. But I'm not seeing nothing else stating that that's a thing.
I wonder how that would work. Like, it can't be that complicated of a design. It's
yeah, there's a lot of YouTube videos of showing it, so it's interesting.
My big thing with it would be when like with a game like that, if you're talking about anything like that, like say Sailor Senshi or Super Sentai, Power Rangers, anything of that nature, you want to be able to transform. But you also don't want your normal character to suck so bad that you have no choice but to always be transformed, right?
Yeah.
That's a hard balance to strike, I'd imagine. Because if you're playing a game like that, and every time you turn it on, you just go straight to being a Power Ranger, then what's the point of ever walking around as the character? And then, also, how would they handle Zords? Because, like, in Star Trek, you do get a ship, and there are missions that involve the ship, just like there are missions that involve the crew. And that's how they split that up. That's how you get ship battles, and you deal with all your ship, but at the same time, you do got to look after your people because they need skills and shit, too. I wonder how they would handle Zords.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, and with like 11-minute open beta footage, and it doesn't look bad for a game that was out in 2012. But I am seeing most of the gameplay so far with just as a person, not as a Zoid or transformed in any way. I'm trying to see how they do that transformation, if there is one.
I would also wonder that if there were Zords in the game, does everybody just... Because here's the thing I was worried about with Star Trek, and I got over it even though I didn't really like it. Everybody has a ship. Everybody. And it doesn't take nothing to get to the big ships. You get to like level 30 and you're driving around like the first ships you get are Miranda classes. The second ships you get are Constitution or Constellation. Those are like Kirk's ship, the Enterprise. Then
what the fuck?
Right after that,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
After that, you're moving into like the I think that's where you move into things like the Enterprise B, ships like that, and then the next 10 levels up, you go into the things like the Enterprise C, and the next 10 levels up, you're in the Galaxy classes and things like that. And everybody just has one. So it kind of, if it wasn't for the fact that the whole storyline revolves around a war, it would be a little ridiculous. And that makes me wonder with a game like that, does everybody have a Zord, or does everybody have a Megazord? You get what I'm getting at? So what it
looks like, what it looks like so far is you have specials that turn you into random fucking objects. Like there's this Pink Ranger that turned into something that looked like a gumball machine that was shooting shit out. And there was another one where that same Pink Ranger turns into like a cannon that starts shooting shit.
Like you do.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But I didn't see at any point where they're actually transforming into Zords. They're just transforming, or they're using their Zords or whatever. They're just using random fucking morphing abilities to become, I don't know what the fuck. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm overly thrilled then.
Just looking dumb. Probably why it got canceled. Okay. Yeah, because I'm not seeing much on it. I don't think it ever got out of beta either.
The update for Sentai Review just went up. That's what I was checking on. Second part to that Common Rider, that Masked Rider gloriousness.
Yeah, I saw that it went up.
Dude, did you watch their first part?
If I say yes, would you believe me?
Damn it, Shane, you're falling behind. You got to watch
Dude.
our episodes.
Dude, I am behind on a lot of things right now. It's
That's
hard
'cause
to
you're-
keep up.
Because you're playing
Including
WoW.
his life. He doesn't. Yeah, I know. I told you, man. He has a problem.
You got to live
Listen,
it.
dude,
You got to live it.
Living a fandom life is can get overwhelming.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So I'm not only am I trying to play games, but I'm also like 70 comic books behind.
Dang, man. How about you get your read on?
I'm trying to. I really am.
You know, I know a show that'll help supplement some of that reading stress.
And right here, you see these books? These are all X-Men books. I'm reading them.
All right. I was just saying, I know a guy who could help you keep up with that X-Men if ever you needed to.
But you see, if I watch that guy's show,
you will get all the information from books you haven't read that you're not going to get that tie into the books you are reading. So, yeah, it's very important.
Listen, the X-Men is the only Marvel I'm reading, okay?
But only 3 parts of it.
Yes, because the other book was just a short series.
What was that?
Phoenix Resurrection.
Yeah, it was only 5.
Well,
so,
no,
here's what we're gonna do. Since none of us have really added anything.
Well, you didn't ask me, Bill.
No.
Yep.
Oh,
yep,
shit.
Bill.
Damn, do I just not matter? What?
Not
mostly,
really.
Mostly, but look.
Never mind. No, I don't play games anymore. I forgot how to do that.
Good. I'm done
just
with you
move
playing
on.
games. That's right. Look.
God, Bill.
Everybody knows what you've been playing. You post it every week.
Well, no, I've actually been playing a couple other games too.
Yeah.
There was a Humble Bundle for strategy games, so I downloaded. Well, like for $12, I got $200 worth of strategy games. So I've been playing. I have downloaded right now Dungeons of the Endless, which is actually really good. It's a roguelike 4-time strategy game. So the whole concept is you're underground and you have to build up and manage your resources. Every time you go into another room, opening that door counts as a turn. So when you open that door, that's when you generate the resources, based off of the stuff that you already have. Right. And you keep doing that in order to find the exit to that level, and you just keep moving up. But the moment you die, everything you did is just gone, and you have to start over from the beginning. So it's relentless as fuck, but it's fun. And then I've been playing a little bit of Endless Legends because it's like Civilization, but with dragons and shit. So yeah, that's all I've been playing besides this shit.
You say like Civilization, so it takes you through eras?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It's made by the people who made Endless Space, and it's supposed to be the different races that are in Endless Space before they got to space. So you have all these different. You have dragons. You have cultists. You have like these other weird ass fucking people, vaulters. And you're seeing them rise to power, essentially, to get to the point where they can get to the moon or get to space.
I see what you're trying to do, Bill.
I'm not trying to do anything, Shane.
There was no reason for you to bring Jean Grey in here.
Oh, I beg to differ. There's always a reason for Jean Grey in almost anything.
Well, this isn't the comic book episode, Bill. This isn't the show.
There have been X-Men video games, sir.
Okay, yes. Quite a few of them, actually.
And that actually comes down to one of the topics that we had written down. Since we've got some time left, we have topics. We have 5 different topics. One of the topics is games we would have loved to have seen that just haven't happened yet.
No, could these be games that we want to happen, but we know are never
Yes.
going to happen?
Or games that have happened, but they failed, and you wish that they would redo it and get it right. Games that we just haven't seen done right yet. Like
the Power Ranger MMO.
like for me, it's Star Trek. To this day, there's still not a solid. There's games that have been okay, but there hasn't been a solid Star Trek game. Go ahead.
I feel like Star Trek Online is the best one.
Yeah, that is the closest I've ever seen it to being right.
Because that makes you feel like you're at least in the universe.
I need a giant KOTOR-esque Mass Effect level Star Trek game where you actually become a member of the crew, you deal with situations on the ship, you go on a gigantic thing, you move your way up through the ship, and you find yourself in the captain's seat by the end of the game, and then the last couple missions are you actually making captain decisions. So it would be nice to see you have to take orders throughout the course of the game and learn all these things about the ship and the universe. And sometimes it would even be nice to disagree with your captain. Like if it gives you different concepts where your captain says, we're going to do this, and you can oppose that, but you got to go with what he decides. And then later it puts you in scenarios where you're going to have to make the same kind of decisions. Right. And if you make those decisions not in the way that he made them, you may come to find out why he made certain decisions the way he did. Like it could cost you lives or different things like that, or lead to a worse situation because you thought you were fixing something that you needed to fix. I would love that. A Mass Effect level Star Trek game.
I would like that, and my first decision would not put Worf on my team because I don't need somebody worthless.
What? He is a warrior.
Yep.
And I made him out of Legos.
Yeah, because that's about how brittle he is.
Damn, that's not nice.
Oh,
you got some hate over there, man.
Yeah,
Picard's a better fighter, and Picard sucks.
Damn. So where are you at? What do you want to see?
Oh, I said this years ago. While one of my favorite RPGs, it didn't age well, which is still fine because I still put it up that really high on my list of best RPGs of all time. I would love to see a Legend of Dragoon 2.
Okay, yeah, a 2 I would agree with. Yeah.
Or, even to be honest with you.
Remake. Remake is not this topic.
Okay. I would like to see a sequel to that game. I mean, I understand how it ended, but you could have new characters. Just something to, that game was a success as far as I know. I mean, I loved it. I know a lot of other people loved it. It's just that they never just, there was like rumors about it, but nothing. It's never going to happen. I mean, that game came out in like 98. So you're looking at, it's already been 20 years. Ain't nothing going to happen.
The way the Musou games took off also, there's two things I still want to see that I've never seen. I want to see a Power Rangers Musou game. Why? Because putties. That's why. It's that simple. You put some monsters on the field. Those act as the other warriors for the other side. And you get to pick from Rangers, and there's putties and Z putties and B putties because those suck, and different things like that. And look, that whole franchise is ripe for the idea of a Musou game and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There's a lot of enemies too, like you said for the Power Ranger one. There's so many different monsters that they've encountered over the 20+ year lifespan of this show that you could easily put the monsters as like the people that you're supposed to be to take bases and to like,
yeah, exactly.
And there's so many different incarnations of putties from every different series of Rangers that you've got enough to work with.
Right. I don't see why it couldn't be done.
Right.
And then I would also like to see it done with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. rock soldiers and foot soldiers. That's simple enough. And then for the turtle side, you want Casey Jones. You want, of course, the 4 turtles. You want Master Splinter. You want Yojimbo. You do. You want Yojimbo. That's the samurai bunny, by the way, if you don't know who that is. You want him. He's fucking awesome, okay? For some people like the idea of April being a fighter, so I guess you could add her.
There's been a few iterations where she wasn't just a reporter.
So there, I've already got 8 right there on just the turtle side. The bad guys are too easy. That's the Rat King, which would also allow you to fight a whole bunch of herd of rats and mousers.
Dimension X, the dinosaur people. I'm assuming I'm calling that right. The Dimension.
Dimension X was the rock soldiers, but what you're thinking of, the Pteranodons or whatever. Yeah, those guys could easily be brought in. Those are multiples, by the way. You fight hundreds of those. But in terms of in like the generals, you have Shredder, you have Krang, you have Bebop and Rocksteady, you have Toka and Razar, you have Slash, you have Spike, you have Leatherhead, you have the Rat King,
the Fly.
Oh, Metalhead. You can do that, good guy or bad guy.
Baxter Stockman.
Oh, definitely. Baxter Stockman? Yes, and he needs mousers. You need to fight him.
I think
you need to fight him early on, where he's actually a scientist and a crappy robot.
Yeah, and then he becomes
the Fly later, and that would be awesome. Yes.
I think that the Power Ranger game would be easier, only because, like I said, while you have many years of turtles, it's always the same turtles.
Yes.
The hero side would be more difficult, while you've got Rangers from Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, Space, all that.
They would have to dig into some obscurities to get all the heroes down. Like, you'd have to dig into, like, there were those 3 frogs that got mutated that became, like, a different kind of Ninja Turtles.
Oh. They would have to add the female turtle from that really crappy show.
Yes. I did not hate her, mind you. I didn't like the show and the fact that the brothers were fighting over her. They all wanted to do her. And I guess when you're teenage boys and along comes the first actual doable girl that you've ever encountered, I guess that makes sense.
April O'Neil don't count.
Right.
April O'Neil don't count. Okay, now, that's a human.
That's not to say the Turtles didn't have a thing for April, but that's, whoa, okay.
I believe Donnie and Mikey are the 2 that had the thing for April, while Leo and Raph I don't think did ever.
Yeah, I don't think Leo ever really had a thing for her.
Raph was too busy trying to be better than Leo.
So yes, the hero side would be tough, but you could add Venus. I did not hate her. I disliked her show and what they built around her.
I think that when you look at these games, and you want to take them from like different, like you can even do a Kamen Rider one, because there's so much Kamen Rider. If you're into, I mean, like, I don't know, like
they've already got a Kamen Rider one. We just didn't get it here in America.
And since I live in America, it would be nice to have a Kamen Rider one.
Now, I am curious if you could download it, if you could make, because like you can make like the Japanese account on your PlayStation. If it's digital on the marketplace, you could probably get it. But I would have to figure out what it was called.
Not region locked.
Yeah, I have to figure out what it's called, and then I would have to make an account to get it.
Mm-hmm. You'd have to make a Japanese account.
I've never done that, but I've been told it's real simple.
Well, we know somebody that has done that. It actually has a Japanese PS4 right now.
Yeah, he has an unused YouTube where you can go check out his 4 videos and wait for an update that's never going to happen. He calls himself, and I can't believe he got this name, but I believe he's called on YouTube the Japanese Gamer, which is weird because he's not even close to Japanese.
Not even close. Fucking Kevin's more Japanese than him.
That's because Kevin was going to buy a Wonder Swan. That pretty
But
Hey,
now,
don't hate on the Wonder Swan, man.
what about you, Kevin? What game did you want to see? That
I would like to see like a Skyrim level Marvel game, or just superhero game in general. That's not an MMO.
like an open world
Yeah, exactly.
mission based, quest based, like Skyrim's got quests and
Yeah,
stuff.
where you get to choose your superhero early on. You choose their backstory, and based off of their backstory and where they're located, the story is completely different.
That'd
Like,
be
for
cool.
example, do you want to be like a Hell's Kitchen superhero? Do you want to be like someone that
Cosmic.
cosmic or Black Panther style, where you're a leader of
You would
a
have to
country?
you would have to keep certain heroes out, like Phoenix, Jean Grey. You can't have her, and she's too broke.
Yeah,
What?
like in
What?
Can't have her. Too broke. Too broke.
I don't give a
You
shit.
want to play the game on easy mode? You pick her.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
No. He was saying you pick a kind of superhero, not that you pick a superhero.
Well, I mean, you can pick super if you want to go that route. I would be down with it too. But I was thinking more like City of Heroes type. Where
Yeah,
you
he was
would-
talking about making
basically
one.
you make
Yeah.
a hero and you choose the power that you want your hero to have. Basically,
Well, yeah, and then
Yeah, don't be
and
counting.
you choose the backstory. Like, what type of hero do you want them to be? Do you want them to
so
be
you're
located?
telling me that I can make a hero,
Yes.
and my backstory could be that when my girlfriend goes missing or dies, I can't lead my team anymore because I'm worthless.
Yes, that's exactly right. Because if you lost Jean Grey, you wouldn't function well either, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I have a whole team of friends I need to keep safe as well.
But those friends
Make me-
never took you skiing, so you couldn't get over it, Shane.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, I don't care what anybody says. I don't think he's a good leader. Well, no, he's not now. He's dead.
He's a little dead. That's not fair.
Original Scott is dead. Young Scott.
He's a way better tactician than you realize. If you read things like Avengers versus X-Men and seen how he outsmarted Captain America at every turn, you would be
that's
impressed.
actually difficult to do.
Tactics-wise, Scott is really tough to beat.
I don't hate the fact that Scott's power is broken, and what he can do in a fight, I respect. I don't like his leadership.
You don't like that the only association you've had with him is the animated series, and that Wolverine constantly hated him, and that fed into the way that you viewed Scott.
Okay, listen.
You grew up in an age where it was fun to bash Scott at every level until you grew up and realized the guy doing the bashing had some serious issues to work out.
Okay, listen, I understand that Wolverine's got some problems, and I understand that in the 90s series, he can't fight worth a shit.
And he has to cry on the bed and cut Scott's picture and wear his combat uniform and complain about judo kicks.
The most.
Then he has to make sad faces because Scott and Jean are hugging.
The most awkward episode is when that motherfucker is sitting on the bed and he has a picture of Scott and Jean and he cuts Scott out of the picture and he's all in his combat gear. He's not like he's wearing like sweatpants. He's literally ready to go fight. I'm like, what are you doing, Logan? What the fuck are you doing?
Dude, it's so weird. But that permeated the way people viewed that character. And it's still something that's affected that character even today, is that's where they're getting their info. And sadly, it was that series that was used to create the X-Men movies.
Now, believe it or not,
there have been good X-Men games. It's been quite a few of them. Because there's X-Men Arcade. There's another X-Men game, the games for their time. Oh, wow. Oh, man, the movie's so bad.
Yeah, let's not talk about the movie. Let's move on.
My favorite character was mouth sewn shut Deadpool.
Hey, it was better than the new Fantastic Four, so I'm just throwing it out there. It's not the worst Marvel movie.
No. Oh my God. Really?
Really what?
Fan Forstick had Doom Guy.
It did have Doom Guy.
He's the only reason to watch that movie. And Elektra is the worst Marvel movie.
Oh.
So you think Electra's worse than
Yes.
Origins is
the new
completely.
Fantastic Four?
I
Yes.
can watch the new Fantastic Four and at least make fun of it. I
And I
can't
can-
even make fun of Elektra. Elektra is just an awful experience all the way
Yeah.
through.
And I can sit and watch Wolverine Origins and get a good laugh because now that I'm reading comics, especially the X-Men comics, I know what's wrong. Everything. Except for like names. They got the names right. Good job. But, you know, I'd like to see I'd actually like to see a Flash game because my favorite hero.
You know, has there been one at all?
No.
Because
He's
now
always-
that
I
you
don't
say
think
that,
so,
I
no.
don't think he's ever had a standalone game.
No, Batman's had a standalone game. Superman has had a really, 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 really bad standalone game and a decent one.
Superman, did you say?
Yeah, Superman. Superman.
Believe
64.
it or not, Superman has a fucking awesome game way back in the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo era called The Death of Superman.
And then they produced crap like 64.
And it's a side-scrolling fighter game, beat 'em up,
Yep.
and it's really solid. And believe it or not, that Superman Returns is not that bad of a game.
No, that's the one I was talking about. Like that's actually not bad, but like back when like they were making like Batman and Superman games, the Flash really wasn't that big of a character yet.
Right.
He's not as popular as he is now. Like if they decided to make a Flash game, I think that it would be fun running around the freaking cities at super speed. That'd be awesome.
You know, here's the thing though. That's become such a gimmick of these type of games. Spider-Man swings around the city. What's the big reason you want to play that game? Because you can be Spider-Man and swing around the city. If they made a Flash game, you know that's what it would be. He would run around the city. You want to do that? And of course, there would be like speed things. There would be levels where they would say, you got to get from here to here. You only have so much time. You better book that ass. And then you got to go there. You know, there would be those type of missions. Then there's the Superman game for Superman Returns. And that was a lot like the same thing, but you could fly around the city.
Yep.
And they keep doing this, and I wonder if this is over. Some of these games are starting to stagnate real hard. Because like there's Spider-Man, there's Spider-Man 2, there's Spider-Man 3, there's
Amazing
Ultimate Spider-Man, there's Amazing Spider-Man, there's Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well, they have that new Spider-Man game that's coming out that actually does look promising.
Yes, but what I'm getting at is that's 5, where you just swing around the city. That was the big draw, was to swing around the city. But you know what game stands out?
The one I'm thinking of.
The
one
Shattered Dimensions.
Yeah, the one where you got to be 4 different Spider-Men.
But that game, you don't get to swing around the city. It was very storyline and combat focused.
Yeah,
and just gave you a good Spider-Man story.
Like when you played as the noir Spider-Man, you didn't go around swinging. You were more of a stealth.
Yeah.
Spider. Everybody had different gameplay. So that was a fresh perspective.
Yes, and I almost worry that something like The Flash, if it came out, it would be this giant city running everywhere thing, and it would be like, oh, there's a fire, put it out with your tornado hands or whatever, and just they would do things like that. They'd have like the random events, you'd have to run from place to place, and the combat situation would probably suffer, because it does with those games. Like Spider-Man 2 does not fight well. You can get over it, you can kick ass in it, and it works for what you need to do, but it doesn't work well.
I played that game for hours just swinging around the city.
Yes.
And this new Spider-Man game looks like it's one of the Batman games.
Yes.
The Arkham Knights, and it's a open world though. So I mean, it does look good.
Which is still going to be fun to swing around Manhattan.
Now I will say this. They have gotten a lot better, and if we're lucky and superhero games take up this stance, we could be in luck, because look at Batman Arkham City and Batman Arkham Knight. Those are open world games, but they play like well designed fighters and storylines.
Yeah,
And-
and this one I'm looking at the fighting for the new Spider-Man game, and it plays very similar to the Batman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot better than what we've dealt with. And this could be a sign. This could be a sign for all upcoming hero games. But there are some heroes that can't get away with this. Like, I think you could do it with the Flash. But I don't see an X-Men game being open world like this. I don't think it would work.
I mean, maybe a multiplayer one, like one that's heavy on that. Like, kind of like, have you ever played Dragon Age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like Dragon Age, where you have a party of people with you, and you can choose to be multiplayer, or you can play solo and manage like 4 different people.
The thing about the X-Men, though, is they're a very team-based superhero.
And that's what I was saying. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Dragon Age.
So if they made an X-Men game that was open world and stuff, it would need to be multiplayer. Has to be. Spider-Man does a lot of stuff on his own.
Yep.
But the X-Men, they all live together.
But that's also disappointing too. Like, okay, say you bought the Flash game, and somebody was over at your house and they wanted to play with you, and they could hit start and be Kid Flash. That works. Yeah. But if you did that with a game like Spider-Man, who's he going to be?
Well, I guess now because he's kind of a hero, you could put Venom. You could put Black Cat.
Yeah, no, Black Cat's like, okay, here's the thing. They can get away with it video game wise, but right now Black Cat is like the queen of the underworld.
Okay, well,
she's basically like muscling in on the Kingpin's territory, trying to be that kind of character. She became a bad guy.
Because Deadpool and Spider-Man love each other.
Like, that game would be rough because, okay, you got Black Cat, and that's fine, but it's kind of like when you play Catwoman in Batman Arkham City.
Oh, and speaking of Black Cat, it looks like Black Cat is in the new Spider-Man game because I'm seeing them talk to each other right now.
Right.
Okay,
she never quite feels like Batman, and she shouldn't, but at the same time, you feel kind of crippled when you have to play as her.
Because they have teamed up before. Daredevil. The Fantastic Four you can even put in. They've encountered Spider-Man before.
Here's the thing I'm getting at. You swing around the city.
Correct.
Batman gets to grapple all over the city. Now, if you want to play a Batman Arkham game where they introduce Robin and he can grapple around the city and keep up with Batman. But if you had to play the Batman game and you had to play 2 players and you were Catwoman and Batman, Catwoman gets screwed because she has to do all that leaping stuff. She can't do what he does.
No, she is slower, so it is harder for her to keep up because like she can whip stuff, but then she climbs she climbs buildings like a cat.
Well, he just puts out his grapple, then hits the top of the building and puts out his cape and floats 10 miles away while you're like, oh my god, trying to catch up with Batman.
Right.
Like, well, that doesn't work.
Well, that's what it felt like in fucking DC Online. If you're a flyer or a speedster, and I picked acrobatics, I'm like, yeah, I can jump and stuff, but God, I'm gonna get left behind, and I did.
Yeah.
Because I made an acrobatic character. I'm like, oh my God, everybody's already there. Wait for me. But there's a lot of different superhero games I would like to see, but like. I don't know. Like Spider-Man works as a solo game. Batman, the Arkham series, that was a success. But like Bill said, you can't do it with every superhero. I don't think I would play a Hawkeye game.
Oh,
no offense. I don't think I would play a
Hawkeye. You would play a Hawkeye game. And yes, you would play an Arrow game.
Would you believe that I like Arrow more than Hawkeye?
Because see, with Arrow
of the show, or not because of the show.
I'm reading his comic.
Arrow would pretty much play exactly like the Batman games. You would use a certain arrow that would be a grapple hook thing. You would run across the rooftops. It wouldn't have any problem. Right. Like, because of what they did with the Arrow show, you could do an Arrow game.
Yeah, because he's he's bad Arrow.
Yeah.
He fights bad villains. So.
But going into this problem of some heroes wouldn't really warrant a game goes into why I was saying like have a open world RPG game where you can choose what character you want and choose their skills.
Well,
So
here's
if you want
the
their
other
skills
killer.
to be good
There's a
with
killer,
arrows,
but
then
there's a
you can
killer
choose
to what you're doing.
they-
There's a killer to what you're doing. Say you want to play a character like Superman. You're too broken. So you would never quite feel as awesome as you want to be.
Well, then that's the thing. So let's say you choose a galactic, storyline where you are an alien with immense powers. Then that story will be different and altered based off of if you're going to be like a Batman type character where you don't really have powers.
Okay,
So
I can see that. I can see
based
that.
off of the story you choose is going to alter the enemies you face.
But then, as a programmer, you understand one major flaw in what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, it would be fucking ridiculous, but it would be great. Great, yeah.
Size.
Would be a really cool.
It would have to
game?
be. It would have to be like. How do I put this? Like you would have to take Skyrim and cut it in 4 parts, and each one of those 4 parts is a full game, and that's what. So you would be playing. You'd be playing close to a full game with each character, but never quite.
Yeah, but it would be like one of those things. Like so, instead of having Skyrim, like Skyrim right now, you can easily put like 100, 200 hours into that beast.
Oh, yeah.
So do it something like that, but instead of each story being 200 hours, have each storyline maybe be like 20 hours. And you can still go through. And once you finish the storyline, if you want to go travel to different areas that the other stories would partake or would be hosted in, you can. You might be completely overpowered and get your ass kicked.
Yeah, because I was going to say you can't be like, because I'm Batman and here's some galactic giant stomping Godzilla.
Whoa. You can have fun, but then that would be the appeal of the game, that you would have a 20 hour story as Batman, and then you have 15 other storylines
if you want to do that like a galactic scale, then a really good game, and it could be definitely multiplayer because you could have all of them, is the hero that Bill has on his hat, Green Lantern. You could make a great Green Lantern game.
Oh, yeah, they already did. Really they already did it. People hate it.
But
they did it. People hate it.
But this one could be on a bigger scale, and you can beat all of the fucking Green Lanterns except for Simon Baz, because nobody likes him.
Damn, man, how you gonna shit on Simon Baz?
Because I don't need a fucking Hal Jordan wannabe. He says that he is the Green Lantern that can do the impossible. Hal Jordan made a ring out of pure willpower. But impossible.
But he does do the impossible. He gets new powers like phasing because.
Or the Emerald Sight.
That's right.
You barely use that in the comics.
He's used it twice. He's got use out of it. He's kicking ass.
No, he's not kicking ass, Bill. You know he is one of the worst lanterns that we've had.
He's easily the best.
Not even close.
Come on, man. Who you gonna choose in your corner? You gonna choose Simon Baz or Guy?
Guy. I watched Guy beat Arcolo without powers.
Without powers. Oh my God, that was awesome.
And because of what's going on in the comics, Simon is the reason. Simon is holding back Jessica. She could be, and those new Justice League books coming out where she's on a team without him means that she's ready to be her own person.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with that. Well, we are at the end of this. We have put in an hour. There's still 1,000 other things we could talk about, but to be fair, since we're at the end, does anybody have a topic to add to the book?
We could talk. Because we didn't really bring it up. I guess we could talk about what anime games we'd like to have. For people, I mean, we could have added that in this discussion, but we never brought up. I guess we brought. We didn't even bring up any anime games.
Got anything else?
Or we can bring up games that are already out that you feel could have been done better.
Oh my God. Yeah. Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of games that could have been better.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about small gripes. I'm talking like they completely hit the mark from what you were expecting it to be. Well, yeah, Final Fantasy 13. Sure.
I'm sorry. I don't care. People can say they like that game. I think it's trash. Coming from a person who's played every Final Fantasy.
You're trash.
They can call me trash. I don't give a fuck. That's my opinion. But what else? Video game talk.
Well, I just added my topic. My topic is you won't believe this, but I want a remake.
What remake?
This topic is going to be super interesting. You'll have to give this some thought, but a game that you would like to see remade that kind of blows people away that you even want to see it. You even want to see it done.
Okay.
So, like,
I think I got one.
it would have to be something like a game that's pretty much universally decided as bad,
Oh crap! Okay. Give
or
me a
something
minute.
of that nature. And you want to see them remake that game because the concept behind it,
Okay, hold on.
if they got it right, could be amazing.
Define bad. Are we talking bad on everybody's scale? Or are we talking bad that fans thought it was bad, but like reviewers thought it was good because they were getting paid to say it was good?
You'll have to come up with a couple of games because it's going to have, if it doesn't grab our attention immediately, that you say, here's a game I want to see remade and done right.
Oh, I know one. I don't know if you guys know about it, but yeah, I know one.
I think I give me some time. I think I can come up with some good ones.
Because I have a couple of them, and the one that most comes to mind goes into what we were just talking about with the giant city, open world, roaming around, playing a good game. There's one game that was way too ambitious for its time that fucking sucks. It's awful. Nobody fucking wants to play it.
What
But
console? What console did it come out on?
Atari and Nintendo and Sega. Sega Master System, not Genesis.
What are you
Genesis?
talking about?
This game is universally despised. People shit on it. And I will tell you right now that if it got a full-scale remake in a giant open city New York, it would be fan-fucking-tastic. It would have car driving. It would have random events. It would have
What fucking
multiple
game
characters.
are you talking about?
Dude, I'm literally trying to think.
I know.
Ghostbusters.
What?
Ghostbusters, Nintendo.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay.
That
Think
game was
about
awful.
actually having an
I
open world
repressed that
New
memory
York.
of that being a game because it sucks so bad.
An open world New York. An open world New York where you actually can get random phone calls or discover PKE energies around the city. You could play any of the 4 Ghostbusters, or you can go online and each one of your friends picks one. You actually get to drive Ecto. There's an Ecto 1 and Ecto 2 parked inside, so if you get multiple cars, you guys can actually split up and go get the money.
Now,
You have access to the Proton Pack, all the new packs that were created by the standalone video game third movie, and you would also have the slime cannon, and you would have the meter. You would have multiple kinds of traps, and you would have to make money to supply the Ghostbusters budget. And the higher the Ghostbusters budget is, the more toys you get to play with, the more stuff Egon can make.
that sounds like an awesome game.
You could also
Yeah.
get weird stuff from the TV show. Like they used to have like this little one-man Ghostbusters helicopter. Get enough in your budget. Why can't you fly around New York in the Ghostbuster helicopter and zap sky ghosts? Ghosts that are up there floating around that even at the start of the game you can see them, but your pack won't get to them.
Or fly above the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and blast him in the face.
Yes, you could.
Yeah.
There could be a storyline, just like every other one of these games, where you go to like green sections, and green sections appear on the map after you've made so much money or you have so many items, and then those are like boss events and things like that. Like, there's a big problem over there, and you could do things like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and things, but most of the game would be random dealing with ghosts. Just like the Nintendo game, just like Spider-Man 2, you roam the city and you find problems, or you get calls and you attend to those calls.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. But I do think it's funny that you added that to the book for a future conversation, but we just discussed it.
Well, that's
No.
that's to give you guys an idea of what we'd be talking about.
Yeah.
That's how that would work.
I've got a couple of games in mind.
Because I've got a couple of others, but I'm telling you, if they remade the Nintendo Ghostbusters, it could be really cool.
It really could.
Okay, so we're done here.
Awesome.